Members of the committee, you have before you for consideration Senate Bill 518. The clerk will read the title of the bill.
Mr. Chair, Senate Bill number 518, introduced by Manzilla, a bill for an act generally revising laws involving parental rights, providing for parent involvement in education, providing that parents may withdraw their child from certain school instruction, including for religious purposes, requiring school districts to provide information to parents about the educational opportunities available to children of the district, establishing additional parental rights and responsibilities, providing that with certain exemptions, employees of governmental entities are prohibited from withholding certain information from parents, increasing a filing fee, amending section, providing an effective date. Mr. Chair.
Representative Deming.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that when this committee's rise and report after having under consideration Senate Bill 518, that it recommended the same be concurred in.
Representative.
Okay, so we got this bill here, and right off the bat, I'd like to move this amendment, if that's acceptable. Mr. Speaker, I move that Senate Bill 518 be amended and request that amendment 518.002.001 be posted and deemed read.
So ordered. Representative Deming.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So if you take a look at this thing here, we have on page 2, line 8, and 7 and 8. So uses a name or nickname other than a child's legal name. That has been stricken in this amendment. It's just kind of unworkable. You know, if a student wants to be known as Jack one day instead of his name, it doesn't really matter. And so I'm asking that this amendment be passed and green vote on this. Thank you.
So discussion on the amendment. Representative Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speak to the amendment.
Representative.
Thank you. Body, as often as we do, we try to bring amendments to bills to either make a bad bill better or make a good bill better, or we try to bring amendments to help us sleep at night. So this bill or this amendment does neither of that, so I hope you can vote red. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, does amendment sponsor care to close? Amendment sponsor has closed. Question now, those in favor vote aye, and those opposed vote no. Other absentee votes?
Mr. Chair, Representative Weatherwax votes no.
Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change his or her vote? If not, the clerk will record the vote.
Mr. Chair, 63 representatives have voted aye, 37 have voted no.
Amendment has been adopted. There's a discussion on the bill. Representative Thane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to direct your attention again to the title of the bill. It was read very capably, but I want to point out a few phrases. It says, providing for parent involvement in education, providing that parents may withdraw their child from certain school instruction, requiring school districts to provide information to parents. So I find it curious that the bill did not come through the House Education Committee. And I would suggest to you that that's likely because House Education Committee dealt with a bill previously that had many of these same provisions, and that bill failed in committee, was tabled, a special meeting was convened, it failed a second time. And the reason it failed, I believe, is because we already have in 1055-701 of Administrative Rules of Montana the following. The local board of trustees shall ensure that each school district shall make available to the staff and public sequential curriculum for each program that aligns to content standards and specific grade level progressions, etc. Second, each school district shall ensure that a policy on student, parent, and school employee due process rights is created. Each school district shall make available to the staff and public a material selection policy, including a challenge procedure for all curricular and school materials. And each school district shall make available to the public the comprehensive family engagement policy aligned to meet the following goals: that families are actively participating in school life and they are to feel welcome, valued, and connected to each other and the school staff. That families and school staff shall engage in regular two-way meaningful communication about student learning. that families and school staff continuously collaborate to support student learning and the healthy development both at home and school and have regular opportunities to strengthen their knowledge, and that families are empowered to be advocates for their own and other children, and that families and schools partner in decisions that affect children and families and together inform, influence, and create policies, practices, and programs. So I would submit to the body today that this bill is significantly redundant. It's already addressed in Rule 1055-701, so for that reason, I'd encourage a no vote. Mr. Speaker.
Representative Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I promise you we're not going to have the whole row pop up. I'm also rising in opposition to this bill, and for a little bit of a different reason than my seatmate. Members, I find myself having just a little bit of whiplash. Not 20 minutes ago, we had a debate to cloture about the realities that some families face and the importance of putting the safety of children first. We heard about custody disputes, about parents who have convictions, arrests, protection orders, allegations, and we heard about the patterns of violence and manipulation that happen in families. And I would like to believe, as I assume all of us would, that that doesn't happen very often, but I think we all know that it does sometimes happen. Bills like this really don't make space for that reality. And you can look in the bill, there are on page 2, section 2 in that construction section, the only exception is for parents whose rights have been legally waived or legally terminated, and those are not the parents that we were just debating. So this bill says, even if you are a parent who has engaged in patterns of abuse or violence or manipulation, you still have an inalienable right to direct the upbringing of your child. And I think that is dangerous. And I actually think it's in real conflict with the debate that we just had. I think the reality is, and we all know this from our lives, that we need parents and children and school professionals to be able to understand the specific and unique realities of kids' lives and to be able to respond to those appropriately and professionally. I think this bill is a sort of blanket approach that really doesn't work and may, in fact, put kids at harm. And since I'm up on the mic, I will just go ahead and note that while I understand that this issue of pronouns has a lot of people feeling a lot of different ways. I understand that pronouns are not for the faint of heart. I also think that this is something for families to deal with. And that's the one exception we've made in this bill. That's where actually schools get to choose. And I just think, again, let's be consistent. Let's be clear. And let's do what's best for kids. And that's voting no on this bill.
Representative Tanner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to speak to the bill.
Representative.
I appreciate my good friends from Missoula and both their comments, but the nuts and the bolts of this bill are on page 3 at the top. They're on line 1. Having been a school board member, this bill puts the onus on the school, to reach out to these parents and have a plan how they're going to proactively engage the parents. So this is a great bill. I'm obviously going to be agreeing on it. It just puts the onus on the school districts to provide, resources to these parents. As a parent, we all get busy and lost in the shuffle with work and everything. And this will make the school districts be proactively engaging these parents. So this is a great bill. Vote green.
Representative Nave.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the body. I've had a lot of experience with lots of different school boards and a lot of different school districts, and I feel very, very strongly that any legislation that we can pass that strengthens the role of parents with relationship to the school is beneficial. While I know there are some parents who are to be kind, less than ideal, you don't try and imply rules that you would use to deal with those parents to all of us. Most of us are competent, most of us are caring, most of us have good motivation, most of us know what is best for our children. And I really feel strongly that parental control is best. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Seekins-Crow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're talking about right now what's best for our children, our parents, our communities. And what's best for our children, parents, and communities is to have transparency, is to not just assume that parents are automatically bad, but that they are good, and that our children need to be having transparent conversation with them, that our schools need to be having transparent conversation with them. And it is kind of sad that we're here, and it is kind of sad that there are parents out there who are not suitable to be parents, but the state and the schools still have that responsibility, and they are still to deal with those types of parents in a way that keeps a child's safety in mind first. But this is a good bill because this keeps parents in mind first, and this is what we need. Please vote green.
Representative Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remember saying this a few weeks ago, a few months ago, a few years ago, I don't know, the last however long is a blur, but I'm not sure what people think is happening in public education in our state. Every parent that wants to be involved has every avenue to be involved. Every parent that wants to know what's going on has every avenue. Every teacher that gets a phone call from a parent, in my experience in the classroom for 24 years with all of my colleagues, answers those phone calls, answers those questions. My administrators have open arms, always have. Every administrator I have had. Parents that want to be involved can and have every avenue to be. Not every parent does that, good, bad, or indifferent, but to stand here and pretend that we are not making this available to parents and transparency is not already happening is wrong. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Does the carrier wish to close?
I do, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader Abbott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The representative in seat 31 requested to be recognized and wasn't recognized. I'd like to appeal that decision.
Okay. Once again, no representative is above our House rules. Our House rules apply to all 100 representatives. We'll take this to the board. All those in favor of upholding decorum, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. Clerk will record the vote.
Mr. Chair, 63 representatives voted aye, 34 voted no.
Ruling of Speaker has been upheld. Guests will come to order. Our guests will come to order. Our guests will come to order. Sergeant of Arms, will you please clear the gallery? Members, will you please go to the side of the chambers? Members, please go to the side of the chambers.
you.